Hey guys, I'm Evan. Welcome to Country View Acres. So this morning I just got done uncrating my newest implement, and this is a 3-point stump grinder, and this is made by Baumalight. Baumalight is a company up in Canada, so this is made here in North America, and this has a 34-inch flywheel on it. This thing is massive. You could probably tell from the size of it, and you have to have a fairly big tractor to run it. I can't remember, it's like 50 or 60 horse minimum you need to run a stump grinder this size. So when this arrived here, it was standing straight up and down on the crate, and I had already removed the enclosure that was around it. And to pull it off the pallet, I did it exactly like the manual says. There's actually a lifting point that is, the intention is to help you unload it off the crate and get it back down on the ground. So there's only a couple things to assemble here. We just have to get the PTO shaft put on, and then this guard or cover that fits on the back of the flywheel, we just have to get it mounted on these pins right there. And after that, we'll grease everything up, we'll check the oil in the gearbox, and then I think we're ready to hook this to the tractor. I thought it was big before, now it's 2 feet longer than it was. So I didn't have any oil come out of the side of the gearbox, so I'm just going to go ahead and add a little bit more just to make sure it's topped off. Oh, there she comes, coming out the side. Well, I didn't put very much in, so it definitely had oil in it. Well, the way this is sitting, I'm about 6 inches short from the top link reaching. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and hook up the hydraulics to the tractor, and then this cylinder right here, I'm going to extend it. And since the wheel's on the ground, that should push this assembly this direction where I can get this top link hooked up. There we go. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna fire up the tractor, and we'll make sure that everything on here operates the way it should. All right, I think we're ready to grind our first stump. So this one is probably 18, 20 inches going this direction, and it's probably about 26 inches going that direction. And I'm gonna try to grind this stump to about 4 inches below grade. So I cleaned this off because I was curious exactly how big it was down deep. 42 inches in that direction. And 37 in that direction. So you guys probably noticed this, but the way this is designed is there's all these cutting teeth on one side of this flywheel. So it just cuts going one direction, and then there's also some teeth here on the end or on the edge of the wheel as well. So as we look at these cutting teeth, you can see we've used it just enough to start taking off the paint. And that one there actually doesn't, just has a little bit of paint off of it. And these teeth, they're carbide teeth. They just bolt through to the other side, and then some of them bolt through at angles. And you can see this one here bolts through straight through at the end. So when I went to the Equip Expo, Baumalight, they had a booth set up there, and I ended up talking to them. I talked to them a couple times, and I think about 3 weeks after the show, I reached out, I sent them an email, and I asked if they were interested in some type of a partnership, because I was really interested in one of their stump grinders. Because I've cleared out 2 long fence rows here, and I've left some of the trees, but I cut down most of them. So along this driveway right here, I've probably got 30-40 stumps that need to be ground out. And probably half of those stumps are probably 6 inches or smaller, but there are quite a few stumps here that are over 2 foot in diameter. I even got one here that's probably closer to over 3 feet in diameter. And then I've got another fence row that goes from the driveway here all the way up to the road in the front, and there's probably another 30-40 stumps that need to be ground out there. So Baumalight did end up providing this stump grinder for us so that we can use it here on the property and so we can demonstrate it for our audience. But I just want to give Baumalight a big shout out, a big thank you, because we're definitely going to be able to get some good use out of this. So before I quit today, I've got one more stump that I want to grind, and it's going to be bigger than the one that we just did. It's just older, so it may be softer, but it's over here next to the bank barn. So there's a few of you out there that might remember this tree right here that was right here in front of the bank barn back in about, I don't know, 2018, 2019, maybe earlier. It had a huge limb fall on this barn. So we hired a company to come in. They used a crane to cut this tree up. And they also ended up bringing this big wood chipper, and it would take probably like 18, 24-inch limbs. The thing was huge. They basically took this entire tree and they run it straight through the wood chipper and chipped it all up. And the only part of this they didn't chip up was from here up about 8 feet to where it started to branch out. I'll try to put a link to that video in the description down below, but that was several years ago. But those guys, they brought some pretty big equipment to take this tree down. So before I start grinding this, the first thing I want to do is I want to get all these rocks away from the stump. I don't want to be running that stump grinder through these rocks. So let me get the smaller tractor in the bucket and we'll start pulling all this dirt back away from this. So this stump is fairly rotten, but it's 3 feet to here on the upper part. But I know we got a root that sticks all the way up out of the ground out to here, which is past 6 feet. Well, I hit something, and this is what's laying in there. Like a piece of chain inside of the stump. I'm assuming. I think there's a void in here, and I think this grew around it, I think. It's either that or we hit it on the edge. So this stump is definitely big underneath. So when we first started, I couldn't get everything to that side. It stopped right there, so then I was leaving some on that edge. So then I moved over so I could swing out farther to the right, and now when I come across, you can see I've got a nice edge here where it's not going all the way across. So I'm going to say the swing on this stump grinder is probably at least 4 to 5 feet that it swings, and this stump is going to end up probably being like 8 feet wide in the ground, so it's going to take multiple positions for us to get this ground out. Well, that tree stump ended up being like ginormous in the ground. I bet we ground probably about 8 feet wide and almost 8 feet deep to finally get everything. And it was rotted, but you got about 4 inches past the top and it was still pretty solid, and it was definitely solid still in the ground. I know it's getting kind of dark, but you can see where we ground right there, and we've ground all the way back to there. And when we started, we ended up doing like this side, and then we went back and we did that side over there. And now that that's done, I can finally level this area out right here, and I can take this gravel driveway and I can gravel in that whole area that we just ground down. And that's gonna give me a lot bigger area here. It's gonna make it easier for you to turn around with a vehicle or turn around with a trailer. I just really wanted to get this gravel area, at least like right in here. I really want to get it bigger so it is easier to maneuver around machinery and turn around. So as it got darker tonight, I could start seeing sparks coming off of the cutting wheel here. And some of that may just be rocks, because we did get into some rocks and stuff once we got down in there, but there was some metal. We hit like a piece of like log chain earlier, and then this is a piece of like flat chain, like that would be on like a manure spreader or something. We hit that as well and kicked it out. I was glad that the way this is designed, at least everything that kicks out goes on the ground, and we weren't really having anything kick back up at the tractors. So it ended up getting dark on me last night. I really couldn't tell how well I ground that stump. I just knew I did a really large area. So now that I've scraped the dirt away, I can tell, like, I've got, may not show up on camera well, but I've got a hump right here. I've got some stump and some roots and stuff still sticking up. And that looks like to be about a 3-foot diameter area. So I'm gonna run back, grab the stump grinder again, and we're just gonna take that spot down a little bit more. Well, it may not show up well on the camera, but we've got this area, we've got it all dressed up now. It's all flattened up. I tried to pick up the big chunks of wood. I got them tossed over to the side. So that there has been a long time coming. That tree, I believe, was cut down in 2018. So it's like 6 years now that stump has been needed to be ground down. And the Baumalight 3P34, this is the first time ever using a stump grinder on a tractor. And the first 2 stumps, this thing did really well. I mean, that thing was huge. We did like an 8-foot square area to grind that out of the ground. And like I said earlier, these are made in Canada, but they sell these at dealers in the United States. And I did a quick search, and from where I live, There's actually 6 dealers within 50 miles of me. Now, this may not be in stock at their location, but they should be able to order it for you. So I was really surprised that there was that many dealers close by. So they have a pretty decent dealer network. So Baumalight makes attachments for tractors, skid steers, and excavators, and they make a total of 4 of these stump grinders for tractors. This is the 3rd biggest one. There's actually one bigger than this. And the smallest one, I think it will work on a 24 horsepower tractor, and you don't even need any hydraulic connections. I don't think so. Now this one, since it's articulating, you need to have 2 hydraulic remotes to be able to run it from the tractor. If you only got 1 remote, they sell some type of valve manifold kit that you can add to this so that you can operate it on just 1 rear remote. Luckily, I didn't have to worry about that with this tractor. I'll put some links down in the description below to Baumalight's website and the stump grinder. So last Friday, we released this new t-shirt design, and I want to thank everybody for placing orders. We ended up selling out of these sweatshirts, I think in like 4 days. Completely sold out. So we've got more t-shirts now. I think we've got 3 boxes of like t-shirts and sweatshirts, and Rebecca's down in the basement right now. So these should be going back in stock later today. So down here in our basement, I don't know if I've showed it before, but this is where Rebecca makes the t-shirts. So we've got shelves over here with totes with all the t-shirts in it. We've got some more over here. This is also where we've got the freeze dryer set up. We're in between batches right now on this thing. But yeah, it looks like we are getting stocked back up on sweatshirts. So to make these t-shirts, we have these heat press transfers made up, and then you just press these onto the t-shirt at high heat. And Rebecca will demonstrate one real quick. These black ones take about 10 seconds to press on. And there you go, Country View Acres shirt. So I've had several people request that we stock 4XL and 5XL shirts. So we're planning on stocking those. I don't know if we'll have those today or not, but we'll have the gray shirt in those sizes, and we'll have this black sweatshirt in those sizes. So like I said earlier, if you guys have placed an order with us, I do appreciate that. It does end up helping us out. And I did get an email last night that our new hats that we have ordered have shipped. So hopefully we'll have those for sale next week. But anyway, I think that's it for this video. I need to go ahead and see if I can get this edited. I'm gonna try to see if I can post that this afternoon. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you next time.